Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast. This is episode 95. We have not seen you guys for a while, and we're glad to be back. We have some family issues and some vacations and some concerts and some other crap that we dealt with while we were gone, and we'll do that. But you'll notice that there's another face with us today, and it is the one and only Julian Gill.
Gentlemen, it's an honor to join you guys today. So thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of your show.
Not a problem.
Awesome.
For the people who do not know who Julian is and his multi-faceted life that he leads, I mean, he is with the KISSFAQ. That's where I know him from, and he is a podcaster. But Julian, fill us in on all your other realms that you do.
Heck, what are my other realms? I'm just a general music fan. Growing up in the 80s, after moving to America in 78, I just got into rock and roll, and that's been my life ever since. So I just love music. I research a lot of stuff, obviously, as you can tell by having the FAQ. And thank you so much for saying FAQ and not the other way of saying the site name, which never sounds right. I appreciate. So, next time I see you, I will shake your hand to say thank you.
Problem.
Don't touch his hands, Julian. It's not good.
I got gloves and just. So
oh, that's okay.
I got a cold right now.
Surgical
anyway,
gloves are okay, but otherwise I wouldn't.
Well, it's not the cold. It's not the reason you don't want to touch his hands.
Yeah. Anyway, keep on going, Julian.
No,
Tell us about you're actually, though, you do. Besides that, you're an author.
Well, that's debatable, as the many people who look for the typos in my works do sometimes say that you are not such an author. I prefer to think of myself as a compiler of information, because I really don't write. I really do just put together interviews and then string it together without turning it into wonderful prose, which a writer would do. And obviously, I do all my stuff myself. I do have a partner, Tim McFate, who has done 2 books with me, now 3, actually. But for the most part, we self-published. It's one step up from vanity. I don't have any royalties paid in advance or anything for any of the things that I do. But I do step outside the KISS world and have done Def Leppard books and have researched other bands, including I threw away a manuscript I wrote on Wasp. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow. Interesting.
Awesome.
So you have people that like to go through your work and tell you when you've done stuff wrong? You have typos? You have people that do that?
Well, yeah. Some of my early works, and it makes me feel Nigel in Spinal Tap. When I originally put out my first book, which was completely, I was so green, I didn't know what I was doing. Some might say I still don't, but the Kiss album Focus, which I'd written for the Kiss Asylum website, and I decided I'd bind it all up, all the chapters, just as a nice offline toilet reading sort of memento, and maybe the toilet was the appropriate place to keep it with the amount of typos. Here we are 15 years on, and I still find typos in the most recent version of the manuscript. So yeah, growing up in America and Britain, my grammar switches between the two, and I also wasn't very good at English.
But I bring
interesting tidbit here. I had a proof copy of the Kiss album Focus. Keyword had. I let a friend borrow it, and he ditched out, and I haven't seen him in several years, so had.
We will find him.
We'll put him on the kill list. We'll put him on the kill list. Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
I brought that up, Julian, because as a leader of a department, I hang memos up, and a long time ago there was somebody that worked for me. She's not there anymore. That used to take my memos and red circle them and write with red pen. I'm like,
she used to be a school teacher.
No, but I did tell her at one point that that was the last day she was going to do that.
So what part of Columbus did she
quit.
bury?
I mean, she didn't quit work, she quit doing it. So
Now, what part of Columbus is she buried now? Is it like
Oh, she's not
downtown?
married. I'm just like, you got to quit doing that crap. Come bring him to me and go, hey, Bill, I'm trying to help you out here. Versus, I want to point out you're an idiot. I mean, trust me, I don't need any help. There's plenty of people out there pointing that.
Please privately point out my idiocy.
Exactly. I don't need you to bring it up. So I got a book too, Julian. I got a book today.
Hey.
It just came in the mail. I just got it out of the mail.
And I opened mine up the other day.
I haven't
actually.
opened mine. Oh, good, you opened yours.
I opened mine. I did open mine.
Cool. Mine just. I mean,
Julian, yours stayed still sealed yet?
I don't have any books. No. I opened mine up. I said I wasn't going to open it, but then I saw that there was a seam split on the cellophane, so I was like, I can't resist. It's like halfway there. It's
actually a nice book. I really like it. It's a lot of pictures from a few sessions. I was hoping for a little bit more because it says 77 to 80, but there's a lot of pictures from just a few sessions, and that's the only thing that kind of bugged me on it. But they're very good. They're very good quality pictures, though. I mean, I'm not.
So in other words, I should have waited till you opened it because
no. It's a great book. Like I said, for the price was so cheap. It was really good. I mean, and it's a high quality book.
Yeah, I got mine for $10.
So now I know I can just go over to Dennis's house and look at his, and I don't have to buy it.
I got mine for $10.
No, I'm gonna charge you to look at it. So that's what we're gonna do.
All right, Gene.
Exactly. All right, so are we doing a show tonight? Or
we're going to do a show, and we have a topic. But before we get to this topic, because it's going to be a KISS topic, but since Julian's on here, October is a very special month for TV appearances for KISS. So, in a really quick, I don't want you talking about it for half an hour, especially myself. But there were 3 appearances because I'm limited myself. There were 3 appearances by KISS in October. On October 29th, 1976, the Poland Special on ABC. 10/28, 1978, of course, KISS Meets the Park Phantom. And it was on
KISS
NBC.
Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Or Phantom of the Park. Did I say that wrong? Yes I did.
I just want to make sure you're corrected, Red Circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Red Circle.
All right.
Circle gets a square.
And Julian, we get the corrections a lot around here. And then 10:30 of 1979, the Tomorrow Interview with Tom Snyder on NBC. So
I play the
real
trout
quick,
and I'm a plumber.
So anyway, we're gonna go really quick round table on all 3. Julian, I'm gonna go with you first. Your impressions of those 3 shows.
I didn't see any of them when they actually happened. So as a Johnny-come-lately fan joining the KISS Army in 1985, I'm a complete postmodern revisionist baby here. Tom Snyder would be my top out of those just because, if you've got a problem with your plumbing, they can deal with it backstage afterwards. And just seeing Gene and Paul mortified, uncomfortable, Peter Criss and Ace Frehley just being maliciously gleeful at their uncomfortableness. Paul Lynde Halloween Special is excellent, really fun, but it's so dated at this point. You look back at it, it's 1976. It's fun. It's hilarious. I guess you had to be a teenager at the time to totally appreciate it. Wow. And those are my 2 picks out of the 3, but Tom Snyder.
And your thoughts real quick on the Phantom of the Park. What do you think about KISS Meets the Phantom of the Park?
I don't. I had to watch that movie so many times while doing the Gene Ace Peter and Paul book that it just killed anything that I could ever have out of it again. Again, very dated, very bad acting. The high point, Gene's growl. Gene is mean.
Yeah, that's bad. Okay, Alan, you're next, but.
Much like Julian, I didn't see any of those things until I started collecting bootlegs. So I totally missed it. That's something that my mom would not, neither my mom or my dad, neither one, would have been interested in watching when I was a kid. And when Dad come home from work, he was in charge of the TV, so The only way I would have gotten to see that is if that's what he wanted to watch.
You were actually one of the first human remotes
You
ever.
got that right. And if you turn that
Turn it
knob,
up, turn that
if you
down,
turn that
turn
knob
the
too
channel
fast, you got smacked in the back of the head. You're going to twist the knob off, God damn it.
and go turn the aerial because it ain't quite
Yeah.
right. I've been the guy.
But I'm with Julie, and I think that the Tom Snyder interview was the best, just because Ace was just poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear. Yeah. And Gene, hi mom, hi mom, hi mom. How many times did he say hi mom in that episode?
Yeah, is this real? Is this real? Is this what it is? Yeah.
It was great.
Bill, what's your thoughts?
So I saw the Paul Lynde special, and I thought it was cool as hell because it was. I had really about that time had just really started getting into Kiss, so that was kind of my first kind of impression to Kiss, and so I thought it was really cool. And it was dark and kind of kind of eerie because it was a Paul Lynde special, that whole thing. But I thought it was pretty cool. I did watch Kiss Meets a Fan in the Park. I was sitting in front of my TV on that Sunday night when it came on, and I thought it was really cool because I was like 12. But I thought the voices were weird. I remember thinking the voices were weird. Like I never thought that's what they sounded like, and I couldn't figure out why they had Gene's voice all jacked up. I couldn't figure out why it was like. So I thought some of it thought it was stupid, and I couldn't figure out the whole thing with the little medallion things, and I was like, what the hell's? But I thought the overall seeing those guys do that stuff I thought was pretty cool because those are my heroes. So I thought it was pretty cool. Looking back, it was just cheesy as hell and a really bad idea.
Right.
And the Tom Snyder, absolutely the favorite of the three. I didn't see that when it happened because I was probably at school or something because it was on, I think, during the day. So I don't remember seeing that at all until, much later. But just like you guys, it's the same thing. It just, to see Peter and Ace be able to just be or do what they want to do and nobody could control them was hilarious. And that was the great part. I mean, they were on.
Certainly didn't happen much in those days.
It did not, and they were very under control, and they took the opportunity to show people exactly what they were thinking. So, it was great. I thought the Ace Frehley was just hilarious, just freaking hilarious.
Okay,
Paul Stanley killed it, you woulda.
Yeah, exactly. My quick thoughts was the Paul Lynde special on ABC was the first time that I ever seen Kiss move. I heard their music. I saw them in magazines. I saw them in pictures. The first time I ever got to see them actually move physically, because I never got to see a concert before then.
So tell me something, Dennis.
What's that?
Were they larger than life?
At that point, there was no getting out of that. At that point, hook, line, and sinker. I was done. The whole point was where was Gene's tongue? The whole time I was thinking about that because you see these pictures of Gene and his tongue and his tongue and tongue. Gene, they censored his tongue for the Paul Lynde special. And he never flipped his tongue one time the whole show, which I thought was kind of weird. There again, it was a 1976 with Florence Henderson, the whole bunch. I mean, we expected that. That as cheesy as it looks now, in 1976, that was what was expected. We watched that right after Love Boat and Fantasy Out and whatever it was. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Kiss Meets the Park Phantom. I actually,
son of a bitch, are you reading that, dude?
What?
Read it. Is it on the paper?
No, I just.
Okay. You need to write it down.
Why? What did I say?
You said it wrong again. That's
Kiss Meets the Park Phantom Park. You know what? For tonight, it's the Kiss Meets the Phantom. Anyway.
Blame the cold medicine.
It's cold medicine. Anyway, I'm sick as a dog. Anyway, that show there, I actually gave up a camping trip, and it was a neighborhood camping trip that night, and I bowed out because I wanted to see this show, and I watched the show, and then afterwards I was like I kind of bowed out for this, and I was kind of, I was on the fence. I mean, I love the concert parts of it, but then, like I said, the voice thing, you knew that was not Peter's voice. I was very into cartoons at that point, and I knew I knew who the guy was that did his voice. I mean, it was that plain. The Tomorrow interview I never had seen until later on either bootlegs or something like that. I didn't see that live. I remember Tom Snyder's late night interviews, but I hadn't seen that live. And like you, that's my favorite of the bunch. I mean, I love that. I mean, it's just like I said, there's so much uncomfortableness in that whole situation. You know, not in Peter and Ace's corner, but in Paul and Gene's corner. And even Paul says some things that are just kind of just out there, and it's like, and Tom starts calling those guys out on some of the stuff that they talk about too. That's what I think is really funny. But anyway, that's my thought on that.
Was the Tom Snyder thing at night? Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like
that was late night.
It was like after Carson, after this, it'd been like at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it was on like in the middle of the day
late.
Or something. I didn't realize that.
No, Peter Criss was on the Phil Donahue show, which was in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
when he was with a not real Peter Criss guy
with the impersonator.
Yeah, I saw that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the in-person Peter. A joke didn't go over.
In-person Peter.
I always like the part on Tom. What was it? The Tomorrow Show when Peter's like, "I collect guns," and they all toy guns.
Toy guns. It's like
and
no.
Peter's just looking at him like, giving them the Brooklyn stare. What? You know? And that kind of just sums up how safe they'd become at that point. But every generation, we talk about the '60s. What was your Ed Sullivan moment? The '70s is what was your Paul Lynde moment, isn't it? So one of those great iconic moments in TV. And then you have Park of the Phantom.
Yeah,
been renamed officially.
Kiss makes the
if I'm
Park
saying
Phantom.
it or you're saying it, which
maybe that's a better movie than the other one.
It is.
We just don't know it. Maybe he's seen a different movie that's better.
It wasn't that good.
So anyway.
But anyway, I was going to bring that up. So anyway, our topic for today, though, honestly, is KISS 2.0. And that's one thing I talked to Julian about getting him on here, and this thing has no right, wrong. There's no right answers, no wrong answers. It's all opinion. Over the years, Gene and Paul both have made comments about a 2.0 situation. They did that whenever they brought on other people to fill the characters, basically saying that this band is bigger than the members itself. They've asked Paul, if they can replace him. Well, of course, it's just one of those situations where they've always dropped hints, but now it's getting to that point. You think that it's going to happen? Is there going to be a KISS 2.0? And I'm going to throw that to you guys.
Who wants to go? Jillian, you can go first.
Okay, throw me to the wolves. Here we go. A lot of people think that I'm a total current lineup apologist because, number one, I wasn't a fan in the 70s. Number two, my favorite album is Asylum. Number three, I run the KISSFAQ, so I have to kind of play nice to a certain extent.
Right.
I don't believe that KISS 2.0 is possible at this point. I think the boat has been missed by about 5 years for the band to do anything. As Queen has kind of proved with pulling Albert Lambert into fulfilling the role of Paul Rogers, fulfilling the role of Freddie Mercury, or the Ronnie James Dio hologram tour, that we're finding out that some memories are better left in the past and just as memories rather than trying to replace Gene and Paul with facsimiles. It was one thing for Peter Criss and Ace Frehley to be replaced because they'd quit the band.
Right.
It's another thing for Paul Stanley to be replaced, and it kind of hinges on Paul for me because he's always been the heart and soul of the band. So is a 2.0 possible? Yeah, anything's possible. This is America. This is entertainment. This is money. So anything is possible, but is it right, or will people pay for it? That's a completely different matter.
Right. And the thing is and then I was going to say this before we got talking, was the fact that Gene has always said, or lately has been, that it is a brand, not a band. The brand is the characters, not the personnel themselves. And I'm like you, Paul is going to be the hardest one to replace. And Gene, we've seen Spyro do just basically a dead on Gene.
Yep.
At some point or another. I mean, it's just to the point where it's just almost scary. And that's, but I've never yet, of all the tribute bands that I've seen, I've never seen anybody even come close to a Paul. So that's
not in charisma, not in
No.
look, not in sound. I have seen a lot of Pauls that work very hard at what they do,
Right.
but to be very polite to them, and I know some personally. You're not Paul. You do a very good tribute to Paul, but you could never be Paul 2.0. And I don't think very many of them would ever suggest that they could go for it. And they might go for it if there was a television show, to really get to work with Paul and show their chops and get some coaching from him maybe, and who knows. But Paul Stanley is just so unique, or he was so unique. He doesn't quite have the power behind the pipes that he once had. He still tries to work as very well as he can within his limitations. But half of Paul Stanley is still, they're not measuring up to that to me.
There is only one Paul impersonator or tribute, whatever you want to call, that I've seen that he doesn't do a good enough job. Like you said, Paul is unique or whatever. But if you ask this guy, he's the best Paul Stanley that ever was. Well, I'm not going to mention his name or what band he is in or has been in or whatever. I've had a few run-ins with him back in my Expo days. But his attitude was these expos are about the tribute band, not about the guest.
So he's almost like Paul Stanley.
He's drinking some Kool-Aid.
Well, if the guest was the band Kiss, or at least Gene or Paul, then this expo is all about you, buddy. But you are not Gene, you are not Paul, so sit the fuck down.
Yeah. So my theory about it is there a KISS 2.0? I think they will definitely give it a shot. I think they'll put something together. I think it'll end up being something, a Vegas type of thing, or even a Broadway type of thing if possible. And I think Gene and Paul will be involved in it to some degree. Probably Paul more than Gene, just because Gene's going to be off doing some other stuff. I think that will probably make the difference in it. But for me, it's not something I really care to see. So I've had this conversation with Stephen Michael not long ago, and it's not. I just don't. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. When Gene leaves and Paul leave, I'm done. I'm done with the whole thing and going to shows, and I just wouldn't want to see that. That's to your point, Julian. The Peter and Ace leaving, quitting the band and moving on was different. That happens to bands, right? People in bands leave all the time. That happens all the time. But when the main people in the band leave, that changes the band for me, at least. And I just don't care. I mean, I don't want to see it. I don't want it to be. That's not who I grew up with. That's not the band of 40 some odd years that I've have a room and stuff in my house with. I mean, it's not the same band. I know Alan's about to have.
Well, if I don't keep wagging my finger, I'll forget I had something to say.
Yeah. So that's my opinion of it. But I do think it can do it. I think that there will be people that will go, but I don't think it'll be a long-lived thing. I think it'll be a very short-lived thing. I don't think it's something they could tour around. That at least for me, I don't think that'll work. But I think they'll give it a shot because, damn it, if they can make $5 on it, they'll sure as hell try it.
Yeah, maybe they can unload some of the LA Kiss merchandise at those shows.
Well, Bill, you brought up the point that if they did a KISS 2.0, that Paul would have a hand in it. My point of view on that comment is you're exactly right, because Paul would want to keep that show as close to the songs that mostly Paul and Gene got to sing, and would still try to keep out, the Ace character can sing 2 songs, and the Spaceman character can sing 1 or 2 songs, and the Catman character can sing 1 or 2 songs. That would be where I would like to see something on the Kiss Point 2 change. Do a 25 song or a 20 song set or whatever, and give each member 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? Give the Spaceman and give the Catman 3 or 4 songs each to sing, rather than just sticking them with those 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know about you guys. When I hear any of the characters referred to, I hear about the Demon, I hear about the Catman, and I hear about the Spaceman, but you don't really hear them talk much about the Star Child. I mean, it comes up in a magazine article or whatever, but that's not something they typically talk about, and that's because you don't think it's maybe me, and you guys can please. I want you to tell me if you think I'm nuts, but
you are.
I don't think about him being the Star Child. I think about him being Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't connect. I mean, he could take the makeup off and sing that stuff.
Even as a kid, whenever I was a big Kiss fan, the Paul Stanley character wasn't a big thing to me. I liked Paul, and I liked his solo album probably more than any of them, but his character had no character.
Okay.
He's loved.
So that being said,
right.
If somebody else gets in that makeup and sings that stuff, is that okay?
No, because he can't sound like Paul Stanley. Because Paul Stanley has the most unique voice. He's one of the most unique frontmen that there ever was.
But it's not just his voice. That's the whole problem with Paul. Paul transcends his character.
Exactly.
He's got his mannerisms, how he controls an audience, and we make fun of his raps at times. But if you go back and listen to any 75, 76, 77 show, Paul Stanley absolutely in his prime, and even to a certain extent back in '96 when they did the a Live Worldwide reunion, that he's a ringmaster. He knows how to bring sections of the audience up and weigh them in his hand, but he's never disrespected that power that he has. And that's not something that you can just get some guy from a trash can tribute band and say, okay, you're going to be Paul Stanley today. No, you have that aura, and it's a word that's often used about Paul Stanley, an aura, and command.
I'll give you an example. Christopher Williams, when we were talking to him the other day from Accept, the drummer, he said, he went dressed up as Peter Criss, and he says at one point he had a moment with every person in that band, and he was like, blah, blah, blah. My friend Ron and I were in Robert Stadium at the back of the stadium. I mean, we were way up there at that point. And there was one time where Paul Stanley was like going, and you guys, and he pointed, and Ron and I looked at each other and we're like going, that motherfucker's pointing at us. We know he's pointing. I mean, but he would make you believe that he was actually pointing to you. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, that's the kind of stage presence he had. I mean, he was like going, I could point in that direction and say, I'm talking to you. But no, he's talking to me. And I just seen it. Did you see that? He talked to me. I mean, that's how crazy that shit is. I mean, he does. He's got a magical presence. I mean, and I don't think you can replace that. You cannot replace that.
It's charisma.
It is.
And I'm not being. I mean, that's not to be, because it's a Kiss song. It is about charisma. That's what it's the presence he brings. It's the, and it's kind of funny because you see that role whenever you see pictures of him out anywhere, like, with his family or whatever. He still looks like a rock star. He maybe a subdued rock star that day that he's at Disneyland or whatever. When you see pictures of him out in public, he looks like a rock star. He just wears flamboyant clothes. He just lives that, and that's him. And I don't know how you duplicate that. I don't know how you do it. I mean,
he absolutely exudes cool.
Yeah,
he always has to be. He's just like, that's Paul freaking Stanley. It's like, hey, Gene, whoa, that's Paul.
But here's though, I'm going to bring in real quick to something that you said earlier, and the whole time you were talking about Kiss, I was thinking of another band that could do. You were like going, there's no way that Kiss could ever. There's no way that you can replace these people and continue on and stuff like that. Foreigner. Think about Foreigner right now, and they do some shows without Mick Jones.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
And they go out without Mick Jones that night, and guess what? Everybody else thinks it's Foreigner. Everybody has a good time. Everybody goes home. The stadium is happy, and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Kelly,
I think it can
Lou
be
Graham,
done.
Lou Graham is a great lead singer.
Right.
Kelly Hansen is a great lead singer.
Right.
They're not Paul Stanley.
Right.
I mean,
and that point's kind of that's proven with Judas Priest. Tim Ripper Owens sounds like Rob Halford.
That's true.
But he's not Rob Halford.
And see, that's why I can't believe that Queen has went with Lambert of all things, because there's some other people that sound
like Freddie.
That sounds just like Freddie. Good. And then why do they go with Adam? I don't understand that. I mean, that's just
star power. Yes, he has some. He does. I mean, I think they went with. I think they went with
because he was on American Idol.
Yeah, but you didn't listen to the music, but he had a couple of hit singles out afterwards. He had a couple of hit records out afterwards. So if you're Queen and you're on your down, and really literally, I mean, they're on their downhill slide, right? They're not selling. I mean, the shows aren't selling out like they were at first. Having that name notoriety is going to help put butts in the seats. I mean, if you said it's Queen with, Bill Alge, they're going to go.
Well, there's that guy. I'm trying to find his name real quick. There's a guy that does the Queen. The stuff
that we've listened to before.
Yeah, and that dude. Why didn't they get him?
Well, even Paul Rogers.
Rogers. Queen's a completely different problem because Queen had not toured since '86 when they came off the Kind of Magic tour. They had never been massive. Yeah, they had Another One Bites the Dust and Under Pressure in the United States. They were not mega touring act in the United States apart from a couple of years.
They had.
So where are they making their bank? They are making it strictly off the legacy of Freddie. The cachet of Adam Lambert and American Idol. It's a perfect union in some states.
That's true.
They're not imitating. They're not trying to suggest that he's a replacement because they'd had Paul Rogers in and done that garbage that they'd done with him, which at least, had more credibility because of Bad Company in the U.S.
You know why that they got Paul Rogers, don't you? Because Freddie, that was his favorite. It was his favorite singer.
He loved him. And come on, who doesn't love
Freddie
Paul
told
Rogers?
Those guys, he said, Paul Rogers is the greatest singer that I've ever heard. And he basically said, if something ever happened to me, he'd be the guy to do something. And that's the reason they got Paul Rogers. That wasn't a match.
But it didn't work. And that was very clear. So you had to go get a clone in the form of someone who had done extraordinarily well in the ratings. It's pure economics. I mean, it's the sort of stuff that Kiss is just saying, yeah, we wrote those books, man. He's a perfect fit. He sings well. He looks good. He has the little, the people screaming.
Right.
And he honors the material. He honors the material and does Freddie proud. I think Freddie would have been happier with Adam Lambert doing his stuff because he hits the notes and sings it the right way. Paul Rogers transformed it into something different, which was uncomfortable. And everything I've heard him do with Queen did not sound right. It didn't sound appropriate. Right. It changed the dynamics too much. And at least with Adam, you get what you expect. Which is
I know we're talking about. I know. Yeah, I know we're talking about Kiss 2.0, but back to the Queen, continue that conversation. So, what about the George Michael song?
Oh, George Michael was another.
Because to me, that was better than Paul Rogers by far.
When they did the Freddie Mercury tribute and George Michael did that, I thought that they were going to get him in their band.
That's what I thought was happening.
But they knew George was he was a liability because George has his issues also.
Right.
Whatever. Come on. Brian May should have joined Def Leppard.
Yeah. So anyway,
who knows?
But there has been mention, through Gene Simmons even, them doing a kind of a TV show, basically try out for who's going to be my replacement. You think that's ever going to happen? I don't think.
Too late.
Problem is I think Kiss
too long.
And then Julian has hit it right now because
he hit it on
Kiss has waited too late for everything. They waited too late for the final concert. They've waited too long because now Peter can't play. Peter can't play a whole show. Peter could play.
Thank you very much.
Peter could play a few songs or whatever he needed to do.
Songs.
3. There you go. But he can't play a whole concert. So they waited too long for that. Now, they just waited too long for everything.
I disagree. I think that they came back to the reunion at exactly the right time.
Well, yeah. That was exactly the right time. But now in terms of what is popular on television, American Idol, in this country, in Europe, X Factor and some of these, come on, Eurovision and all that garbage, it's still very popular. In the U.S., they've missed it. They did the appearance with, oh, God, who did they sing with that year? Was it Adam Lambert?
They sang a couple of times. They sang with Adam Lambert, and they sang with Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson.
So
who I saw singing. I saw him sing.
Those shows have fallen by the wayside. Yeah. And as has the talent that's coming off them. So it really needs maybe Amazon streaming or Netflix or one of these kind of services that they partner with in order to bring in subscribers, because Kiss fans are seen as dollar signs. That if you get Kiss, they're going to sign up to Netflix if they aren't already.
Well,
you're right. Yeah, I just don't. I think what would be kind of cool, and you guys are probably gonna think I'm nuts, but instead of seeing a Kiss 2.0 show in Las Vegas, I'd rather see them do a Cirque du Soleil show. That's Kiss music. That would be cool as hell. Fire and bombs and people. I think that'd be really cool.
They've done it with Beatles. I mean, they've done that with the Beatles show and some of
It's really cool.
Right.
If you've not seen it, it's really cool.
I loved the Beatles.
It's really, really cool.
It was absolutely insane what they were able to do with that. You just struck on a very good thing, really. And I just want to take that one step and, shut me up if I start trying to dominate here.
Oh, go for
it. Can we not take an idea of a Kiss 2.0 show one step further? Let's combine the fashion shows, the runway type things, and have these guys competing with their new costumes, with taking over the characters. Say Gene Simmons, you're not just going to be Gene Simmons. You have to come up with a new character, a new costume. So like Dynasty or Creatures, something completely new, so that you're not just slipping into something comfortable that Kiss has already done. You're actually going to be a 2.0. You're going to be a new and improved version of Kiss with a new identity and new material.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea.
That would be different.
I think it's gotten boring, really. I mean, I think the fact that they keep going back, and the costumes they're just tweaks now. But I remember vividly, couldn't wait to get the next album, and couldn't wait to start seeing the pictures in the magazines to see what they'd done. And I remember being so upset when I saw the photos from the Elder where they'd cut their hair and everything went from being, Gene went from being that freaking huge, god awful thing he was wearing for Dynasty to wearing that crap he wore for the Elder.
Wasn't that chain? Is that called chainmail? Or...
I don't know. It's just like one knot thing, and he had his hair all pulled off. I mean, just the visual. I mean, that's the thing. We've talked about that. We had an episode a long time ago that was called the visual music, and that was part of it, right? We just talked about the Paul Lynde special. We just talked about Tom Snyder. We just talked about.
But if you had
Phantom of the Park, and that's because it was.
No, it's a Park fan.
So I think, Julian. I think to your point, though, Julian, sorry, to your point, I think you're right. I think having that go to another level where you're going to do something different with it would be a great idea. I think you're going to do something now.
That's actually where it has to go.
I just don't want to. Hell, I don't even want to go see him again now if they come around, because I know what the damn songs are going to do, and I've heard that. I'm moving on. But I don't want to go in and I don't want to miss the last time. That's the other part of it.
Think of it as this, though, Bill. Say if they were Kiss sanctioned bands. Okay, these were actually official sanctioned. Gene and Paul officially, but they had different versions. They had, like, say you had your Destroyer era. You had your
No.
You see that? You wanna go
No.
see it?
I'm not. To be honest with you guys, I've never seen a Kiss tribute band.
But what
Period.
I'm saying is, if
So I don't want to see them. I don't want to.
No sanctioning of you're going to be the Kiss Alive band. You're going to be the Destroyer band. You're going to be the Elder.
but instead of having like what you were talking about, there was the certain delay. You have that, and you've got like the Mannheim Steamroller. They got East and West and all these stuff like that. If you had a show called like Kiss East, Kiss West, and they went to certain like Vegas, they went to Broadway, they went and they did Chicago, they did the bigger cities, playing certain theaters.
Right. So
with
Blue Band
official sanctioned backdrops, makeup, costumes. You know what I'm saying? But then at that point, then if you had a tribute band, would Kiss come after you and say you're done? If you were just like a traveling like a guy in Illinois with a Kiss tribute, like Kiss.
I don't think they would.
My ass.
I don't. I mean,
well,
I don't care. I don't
need to separate the tributes from Kiss 2.0. They need to be kept as two separate things.
Yeah,
a tribute is a tribute. They need to be completely different. A Kiss 2.0 needs to be Paul Stanley working with the Paul Stanley to write a song like Paul Stanley would write a song. Gene Simmons working with the bassist to help him do the gliss on the bass, help him perfect his demon growl. And then I guess Tommy teaching them how to play aces.
Well, which version of the makeup would Gene show him how to put on? Because
that new version's terrible. That new version's so cheap.
Depends how old they are.
Let me interject something here. You remember there used to be a time when Gene and Paul looked the other way when people were selling bootlegs at Kiss expos or Kiss conventions or whatever. And then when they got the idea to do the Kissologies, suddenly the lawyers come showing up at Kiss expos and start confiscating bootlegs and stuff. You're gonna know when Kiss 2.0 is coming up when they start getting the tribute bands start getting cease and desist orders.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Once if 2.0 starts, the tribute bands will end. Because why have somebody competing with my other tribute band?
Right. I mean that's just
that's just down. That's just business. Yeah.
And you will know when those tribute bands start getting cease and desist orders because they'll hit Facebook like fire.
Oh yeah, it'll be a mess.
Yeah,
it'll be sad because
it will be sad because they're fun.
A lot of these guys have done it for decades, and they put a lot of effort into replicating a particular period in history. A lot of these bands are known for particular eras. They're known for particular sets, and it's going to be a slap in the face that they've kept those eras alive. And how many Kiss fans have gotten together and said, hey, I wish Kiss would go back and put on the 74 costumes or just do a set of this or, do larger than life in the set. And these tribute bands have carried that torch for us in so many ways without getting into the politics and the business, the trade rights, the trademarks of the copyrights and all the jazz that goes along with it as business because Kiss is a brand. And that's why I think Kiss 2.0 has to be a continuation. It has to be an evolution of Kiss to the next level, with Gene and Paul starting out, advising, and then letting these guys go. Did any of you guys listen to that Classic 78 EP that came out?
I actually bought it yesterday, and then it said I couldn't download it on my phone, so I got to do it on my computer tonight. But I downloaded it.
I've listened to a couple of the tracks off that, and the last side.
Janelle and stuff. It sounds good. I love those guys.
So that's some guys who are trying to do something in a Kiss style rather than being a tribute. So they are paying tribute to the sounds and maybe some of the cliches that we love. Yeah, the innuendos in the music. So they're trying to write along those lines, and I don't know what they look like. I just know what they sound like, and it's good.
I think they hit the Gene and Paul songs are really, really good. The Ace songs, they try a little bit too hard, I think. If they do a Peter song, it's not too bad. But the A songs are trying, like that Jindal or whatever hell it was on this last one. It's okay, but no, like I said, the stuff that they do for the Peter and or for Paul and Gene are really good.
So to me, that's the right idea.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to see what they look like because they don't want you to see them.
Right,
and they don't.
That's part of the
And,
deal. They don't want anybody to know who they are. So
if you remember the interview on Growing Up Rock, the one dude said that if they ever get on the Kiss Cruise or whatever and do a performance, they're done.
That'll be the end.
People will know who they are after that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, are we about ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, Julian, what else you got? You got anything else you want to talk about? What else is burning the fire?
Before he starts talking about his stuff, because I definitely want him to talk about his stuff, I want to just ask you guys a yes or no question.
Sure. All right.
Julian, if Kiss does 2.0, are you going to go see a show?
It depends on the context. I can't answer that not knowing anything about it, because before I drop money, we would know something about how it's going to be.
Okay, Bill.
Same. I would venture not to, but I would have to wait and see.
If it's close to my area and it's not a bad price, I will go. It's just like seeing everybody else. I would go. Sure. Why not?
Well, I was going to say no, but Julian just totally ruined my answer because he uses logic.
Sorry.
That would be my.
You know what? It's fucking live music. I go see live music all the time. I play in a live band. I want people to come see me. I don't care. Come go see live music. That's the whole point.
It's not about that. That's not what that's about. For me, that would not be what that's about. I think
I go see any Kiss tribute band that comes into Evansville. I will go see. I don't care who they are.
We're not talking about the same thing.
And if it was Kiss 2.0, I would go again. I would go to see it. I don't care.
I just have to see what the set list is.
Yeah, and you have to remember that Kiss 2.0. There's probably some investors in the background who paid Gene and Paul to become Kiss 2.0. So number one, your prices are immediately going to be up a level from your average Joe tribute band that you're just going down to the bar. You might have a soda, you might have a beer or two, pay a cover charge and see some guys set themselves on fire and play some half-assed rock and roll that you can sing along to. And do a little bit of a homage to Kiss as you remember them.
Right.
Kiss 2.0 is going to be so corporate.
Oh, it will be. I mean, it'll be as good as Kiss, or as they can do it.
It won't be as good as Kiss as they can be, because it's not Kiss, and I'm not going to pay Kiss prices. But I would be interested to see how they present it before making any judgment, because they would have to promo the hell out of it and they might have to go on Eddie Trunk. That would be hilarious.
Oh, fuck Eddie Trunk.
That would be funny.
Sorry, but fuck Eddie. I don't give a shit.
Hey, Eddie Trunk, would you like to come on our show?
There you go.
I don't give a fuck.
My question to you, Julian, was there anything going on in the Kiss world that you're excited about right now, or you that you've been doing any research on that you want to share with any want to share?
I'm doing research on a new work, which I'm not going to share any details about. But what am I excited about? I'm excited about January the 6th, which is the L.A. Gene Simmons Vault Experience, which I have signed my soul over in red ink. I'm going to go and do it. It was one of those things. I'm very excited about his music. Obviously,
my wife has told me that she would do it for me if I wanted to do it, and I just won't do it. I just can't do it, dude.
It's a tough thing. I've got a video camera. I've got a tripod. I'm going to have a second guy there to film it. I'm going to provide as much information to people who are on the fence about it. And I hope that anyone doing it will do the same, stream live on Facebook, however you want to do it. Let's share with other people the experience. If people can't drop the coin to do it, they get to at least see what it's about and then make the decision. Obviously, they did announce that they're doing payment plans.
Oh, they did plans?
Are you? Well, yeah, because
you get your own Gene Simmons credit card. I think the last time I counted up, they'd sold 321. So I'm looking forward to that. But more exciting.
How many they sold those? You said 321?
321. The last time I'd counted the dots on the Vault site. But you know what? Gene's music is one thing because so many demos have circulated. I am more excited about the Atlanta Expo with Vinnie Vincent, and I'm going to be flying out for that. Again, like Nashville, meeting you good guys.
Right.
It's going to be seeing people, shaking hands, being in person.
Oh, we're going to be in Atlanta too.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
we're going to try to go down there.
Being offline. As I get older, I find I enjoy how we used to do things, just sitting down together. I would love to have the opportunity for there to be instruments on stage for us to get up and jam again like Nashville.
That was fun.
That was so much fun. Nothing will ever top Charisma, but
for sure.
I still want to make that a ringtone, that scat.
I was wetting my pants. I was just sitting there. There's only about 20 of us in that little area, including the guys up on stage at any one time. And it was just one of those magical moments that no one had played together. And Liam McCormick just is the man.
He is.
He's the world's greatest stage manager.
On bass,
his birthday's today too, if I'm not wrong.
Al and I were about 20 miles out of Nashville, and he goes, "I'm gonna put this on your thing." So we put it in my radio. Also, it is, and I thought I was gonna pull the car over. I was laughing so hard, we started crying, and we were like, "Oh, that's the funniest shit ever."
It was funny.
Yeah, it was.
It was very funny,
and it was
cool. Sitting there watching it, not being. I mean, I don't play an instrument.
You will next year.
But watching you guys, it was a blast. And I'm telling you, people that left early, they lost out.
God, they missed something just so special because, looking back, there's so many things we could have done a little bit different. I would have hopped up on backing vocals on here and there. I would love it. So when I was singing Rip It Out and I couldn't hear myself, I was like trying to go up a key and down a key and find where the instruments were. It was just so much fun. People hopping in, Surrender, Ken Mills. Oh, my goodness me.
Dude, like I said, I play in a band and we practice on a Sunday and we go in there and we got like 4 songs everybody's got to practice. Well, I didn't practice this one, didn't practice this one. We went there that time and we have 11 or 12 songs. Everybody said, we know the parts. We got there, boom, 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 boom. And every one of them were just fucking awesome. I mean,
every song, there was no false starts, no restarts.
Nope.
We just motored through them.
Just motored through it, and it was awesome.
If someone's amp wasn't at the right thing, it was just
doesn't matter.
Turned around and tried to adjust it, and if not, went with it. That was the greatest thing.
It was fun. I had a good time.
The cool thing was, it was check your egos at the door. Let's just go have some fun.
Right.
And that's really what it was. It was.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, it was cool. It was cool to be there and cool to see and cool to meet everybody. So I can't wait for next year. It's going to be awesome.
How many podcasters can you put in the same room? Apparently a lot, because it was just so cool. There are so many people all day long, all these podcast guys. I mean, Alan, we never met in person. It was just, we've known each other online for decades. It was just, hey, that was the greatest thing. And it was like that with so many other people. So,
like I said, I made a lot of friends that day.
Yeah. Is there anything about that event that you wished you would have done that you didn't do at the event? I know there's some things I wish I would have done differently.
Oh, I wish I'd taped some interviews, especially with Toby Wright with the Crazy Nights thing I'd done earlier this year. I introduced myself to him and said, "Hey, I'm doing this feature on Crazy Nights, and I'd like to interview, but not today." Well, would have been the ideal opportunity in Nashville. I wish I'd grabbed Mark Slaughter and said, "Hey, thanks for coming on my podcast years ago. Let's talk Vinny." So I wish I'd done so many things, but I was kind of split between being a podcast and being a salesman. Having the books there. So I think next time, and obviously Atlanta, I'm going to be pure sales rather than being podcast. Even though we'll have some of the guys from the podcast there for people to meet and hopefully shake hands with it. Not to be so schizophrenic in how I do things. Again. All good. Love it. I don't think I'd change much, but I learned from everything I do.
Yeah, I didn't. When I meant that, I meant that as in, not in a bad way. I wish I would have spent more time going around meeting guys and talking to them and stuff like that.
Same
way. I kind of wasn't sure exactly what to do, and it's that whole thing about you're not sure.
I kind of
feel like we've been doing this.
We've been doing this
for just 2 years. Just our 2-year anniversary was just last week, so we feel like we're a pretty fledgling group. And then come to find out, we weren't the fledgling group. There was some guys there that I don't even know if they'd done their first show yet, or had just done their first show. So, which was pretty cool. But I just wish I went around and tried to make some more connections with people and stuff like that. And it's kind of weird I didn't, because I'm pretty outgoing. So I don't know why I didn't do that. But when I left, I was just
focused on what we were doing too. That's what made it bad.
Had a mission.
Yeah, I mean, you guys remember we came in and everyone was all business that day, setting up. It was like, who's got some tape? Here, tape. Who's got a knife? The brotherhood and sisterhood for the ladies there. It was just so much team, and obviously shaking hands with the guys from Talking Metal, and that led into I got to do an interview with Mark about Alive 2 and do an article for their website. So it led to like networking, but and it led to more collaboration, because we've had Alan on our show. We've done a podcast with some other people from there as well. So it was all very good. And you know what? If I'm going to pick a moment from that whole Nashville thing, being in the same foyer as Ken Mills when Gary Schaller came through the door, and just being...
Dude, I've seen that video. That's
just being sitting on the other side of the camera. Wow. And seeing something, I've met Gary, and he's a great guy. I've spoken with Ken many times, and he is just a role model for me on how to be a better human being, a better podcaster, a better many things. And to see those guys meeting for the first time just is like the nail into a piece of wood that reinforces what it was all about, that it was about reconnecting in person, offline, though someone was filming and got to share it all online.
Well, for us, we didn't even know that was actually the first time that they ever met, and I was like just blown away. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
10 years.
That 10 years to do that, I'm like going, "That's just crazy." And then how great it, and like I said, he's just the nicest guy you ever meet. Both of them are. I mean, everybody there was this great person. It was awesome. But
so I guess you got to say, props to BJ and Chris Inzak.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So here we are, how many months later, still talking about it.
All right. So anyway, we're going on our 2-year anniversary, and Julian, thanks for being a part of that. Alan, you want to wrap shit
Julian
up?
Julian needs to do some, or
Yeah,
Julian needs to do some of his stuff.
Oh, okay.
I was not say Julian.
No, I did.
I want to see that 6+ pound book.
All right. So this is the uncomfortable part of me having to be the salesman.
I'm gonna order one of those before we even get off air.
Well, then I'll start with the other one first. So today we've published The Other Side of the Coin Part 2, 384 pages. It just compiles all the interviews that Tim McFade and myself conducted for the KISSFAQ website between 2007 and when he left the website. So it's just a way for you to have them offline, because I don't believe the website will be going forever, not 22 years in. It's as simple as that, as I like to say. The other one...
Lift.
This is Kiss on Tour, 1973 to 2017.
Oh my gosh.
That's a big-ass book.
This is the prototype, so...
What's in there, Julian? What's in that book?
It's 1,000 pages of Kiss reviews. It's every show that we've been able to track down over the band's career. What we do in this book versus what Jeff and Kurt did in Kiss Alive Forever is they have interviews with guys from the shows, from the crew associated with these shows, and
I have that one. It's real thin.
Yeah. Well, theirs is the gold. Theirs is the gold medal standard. Mine, I go into the local newspapers and reviews, contemporary reviews of the shows. So we've got the attendance figures, we've got the opening acts, we've got the grosses in many cases for the shows, and set lists and reviews. It's the reviews which are the key to this, because if you want to know what someone in, say, Peru at the circus was saying about the show in 1974, or in Los Angeles about Anaheim, then we've got some clips, some snippets out of the local newspaper reviews. And I had 15 more years to work on mine than Kurt and Jeff did on theirs. So the two complement one another. One is not better than the other. They're just different. Mine obviously goes the whole career, and it's going to be only available at the Atlanta Kiss Expo or by mail order before. I'm only doing 50 of these things because they're so heavy. They're over 6 pounds, and I've licensed a Vinny photo to put on the cover, just like Kurt and Jeff did for theirs. So I think people will like it. Again, it's a beast. It's a monster. Awesome. It could be History Volume 3. Gene. Really?
There you go.
How much is shipping? Like $80?
I had to tell people I cannot ship these internationally because shipping is more than $80 for that weight.
Oh wow, I was joking.
I am just not doing that to people. I don't want to get into the argument about why our postal service is so expensive. For anyone who buys it in the United States, I'll include shipping free because media mail.
Like I said, I have Amazon. Amazon's free, right?
They won't be on Amazon. Again, there's only going to be 50 of them. I'm going to include shipping. They're going to be 60 to 75.
Give us our address so we can order those right now if you'd like to.
You got to find me on the KISSFAQ.com because I'm taking people's email addresses. I'm going to sell some by mail in advance so I don't have to take them on the airplane to Atlanta. But I'll still have some copies there along with a very special surprise title only available at the Atlanta Expo, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to go there to find out.
Well,
if I buy it ahead of time, how's that going to work, man?
If you buy it ahead of time, it's going to come to you in the mail.
Yeah, I know that, but if it's got a special event, if it's got a special cover in Atlanta,
yeah, I don't have to wait till Atlanta to sell them.
Okay, you gotta buy it.
There's only 50 copies of them being made. Period. And if any are left over for Atlanta, which some will be because of the price, I will ship out as many as I can beforehand.
I think Bill and I are probably going to buy some before you. So we'll probably take a couple pounds off of you before you go.
And again, don't forget that Kurt and Jeff have a special edition of Kiss Live Forever with the Vinnie Vincent cover coming out as well. And, they're up on Pledge Music for theirs, but, theirs is still just up to 2002. They haven't updated theirs yet. Mine's going to be bang up to date as of next week is when I freeze the manuscript after the cruise.
Awesome.
Wow. So you're going on the cruise too, right?
Away. Forget that.
Oh.
I had to ask. I am not getting on a boat with a bunch of Kiss fans. And it's nothing against Kiss fans. It's just I can't handle that much Kiss.
We will see you in Atlanta, though. It'll be fun. We'll have a beer.
We're going to have a good time. I mean, I'm so looking forward to it. There's a lot of good people going to be out there. Obviously, you good folk and Tom Shannon and so many friends who I've only known online for many years. I can't wait. Shake hands, see people, see you guys again. Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
All right.
You want to plug anything else? Website or anything? Or
plug away whatever you want, dude.
No, I've got nothing else to plug. That was more than enough. Thank you for the monologue.
Take us home, man.
All right, visit us on agesofrock.com. Check out our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Stitcher Radio. All that other good bullshit. Till next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.